are stuck here, just like my vines out in that field. We grow almost all of our own vegetables, along with pumpkins, gourds, and hay. I raise my own meat, my own eggs, my own chickens. I am very, very concerned, like I said earlier, about the effect of these emissions and this sound on my family, my crops, my customers. I am also a true farmer in every sense of the word, and I am protected by the Right to Farm Act. If we have our livelihood and our lifestyle threatened, that is something that is there for us to rely on. There are still a lot of answers from the gas company that we did not get, such as where are they planning to ultimately send this huge volume of gas? Oddly, New Jersey Natural Gas just filed a very similar petition in Hazlet Township last month, requesting 23 variances and waivers in another area that doesn't seem situated to what they want to do. We were not answered if they're planning expansion. Is there going to be gas storage? Do they plan on selling the gas? There was no revelation of safety or a blast radius in the area. As I stated earlier, my property is directly across the street from the proposed regulator station, less than 200 feet. Our home is from the 1700s and is also on a list of historic homes. We are on nearly 100 preserved acres of farmland. That means the development rights have been sold off through taxpayers' dollars, along with my purchase fee, but that's what makes me able to buy land that was worth $30 million. Because of this, I feel that the taxpayers, the residents of our community, our families, our friends, our colleagues, people who work in the area, surrounding towns, are also invested in this. They do support these SADC proposals to put X amount of their taxpayers toward preserving farmland, and Homedale has been very aggressive in the past in preserving farmland. So it is important to everybody to have these farms. We enjoy the community coming to our vineyard and enjoying our award-winning wines while looking out at our oasis of farmland. Like I said before, I feel that because it's a preserved farm, everybody really had a say in preserving that land, and I feel it makes everybody an interested party. As interested parties, we have collected over 393 petitions, which I will give to you. They're actually a letter of petition, and I'm submitting those to the public record. A fellow resident had also set this petition up online, where it garnered over 680 signatures. He will present these to you electronically when he presents and reads that letter of public submission. And I did bring along the 280 previous petitions because I wasn't sure if you were going to have those or not. So in finishing, I urge the petition be strongly studied for what it really is, a for-profit proposition at our expense that benefits only New Jersey Natural Gas. Not only have they not proved that the regulator is for the benefits of those along the line, this entire application has been shrouded in unanswered questions. Again, serious ramifications to farms and crops and health. Our watershed is right there for the Swimming River Reservoir. We have a school less than a mile as the crow flies, full of elementary school children. I do feel that I guess it's SICA, the SICA requirements, proving that this is good for all at the expense of a few, have not at all been met. And I cannot stress enough that allowing an industrial use in our bucolic Homedale Village will forever alter our historic town, not to mention cause harm to our health and our property values. There are also other parcels of land along this giant gas line all the way to the Raritan Bay that can fall to this industrial creek if it is allowed. There is no safe or worthy location on any tract of land to support this behemoth of a regulator and all of its implications, and a dangerous precedent will be set not only for Homedale but surrounding towns such as Hazlet and Middletown.
This is the current one, or is this both the current and the
They're labeled. I put the new ones and the old ones.
Thank you very much. have Kin G.
Good evening, Your Honor. That's a tough act to follow. My name is Kin, K-I-N, last name G, G-E-E. I am a Homedale resident, but I also serve as president of a citizen group called CHARGE. Stands for Consumers Helping Affect Regulation of Gas and Electric. CHARGE joins with other residents in opposing the regulated station proposed by New Jersey Natural Gas in Homedale Township. Towards that end, we have organized, as mentioned before, an online petition urging Your Honor and the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities to deny the New Jersey Natural Gas petition, appealing that decision by the Homedale Township Zoning Board of Adjustment denying their application for the construction of this proposed regulated station. In less than 2 weeks, 682 individuals have already signed this petition. We are submitting the full text of that petition along with the names of the individual as attachment 1 that have electronically signed the petition to be included as part of the official record of public comment. We also certify that those attachment 1 names, in fact, are the ones that have signed electronically, and that the list of the names were generated by charge.org, the platform for our petition, and the submission will provide a link to the online petition for you to see as well. In addition, we also will include some additional comments that they've made online. We believe that each of these 682 individuals that have signed this petition should be counted as against New Jersey Natural Gas proposed regulation station. So combined with the 390 that you received in physical form, we have over 1,000 residents that are in opposition of this. The text of the petition, which is the same as the physical form that you have, is as follows. The undersigned urges Honorable Elia Quiroz, ALJ, and the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities to deny the petition by New Jersey Natural Gas, appealing Homedale Township Zoning Board of Adjustment denying their application for the construction of the industrial regulated station. In 2011, New Jersey Natural Gas filed and received approval to replace 8 miles of 10-inch gas pipeline to 16-inch pipeline in Homedale Township. And subsequent to that replacement, sought the zoning variances. The Homedale Zoning Board has twice denied such application due to unsatisfactory answers in a thorough and robust process. Municipalities have the sovereign and statutory right to determine local land use. While it has the right to appeal that decision to the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities, New Jersey Natural Gas has the burden of proof to make that case and to show that there's no other sites or alternatives, including the design of the regulated station, to accomplish this. New Jersey Natural Gas has not done so. At issue is the need for a regulated station with an industrial gas heating unit due to the extreme drop in operating pressure, and as a consequence, the drop in the temperature of the gas that can lead to icing. The previous pipeline that was replaced did not require the need for this proposed regulated station, since it operated at a lower operating pressure. It should be noted, I think I said before, that the maximum operating pressure is 722 PSIG of the new pipeline is the same operating pressure of the Southern Reliable Link, which is a 30-inch pipeline, much larger than the 16-inch pipeline in question. The population of Monmouth County, as mentioned before, has been flat for the last 20 years. In addition, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, New Jersey residential gas consumption grew at 1% per annum for the past 10 years, relatively flat. Despite this, not only did New Jersey Natural Gas increase the volume of the pipeline by 250%, going from a 10-inch pipeline to a 16-inch pipeline, it has also significantly increased the operating pressure of the pipeline. The population growth and the consumption trend do not dictate this extreme increase in capacity from larger pipeline diameter and the increase in operating pressure. that has now exacerbated the need for the regulated station with a heating unit. This is a self-imposed hardship by New Jersey Natural Gas. This is not necessary for the service, convenience, or welfare of the public, as required under NJSA 40:55B19, but rather for the commercial and the corporate desire by New Jersey Natural Gas to push abundantly available frac gas from Pennsylvania through New Jersey for the use and benefit outside of New Jersey. New Jersey Natural Gas has not provided a rigorous and exhaustive analysis of the alternatives, other than New Jersey Natural Gas couldn't reach commercial terms with the owners of some possible sites. As an example, New Jersey Natural Gas has not provided details of the discussions and negotiations. We don't know for a fact whether New Jersey Natural Gas could have reached agreement if in fact they were willing to be a little bit more flexible. Furthermore, when questions about the designs of the regulated station, for example, the use of a catalytic converter to reduce emissions was raised, New Jersey Natural Gas has refused to provide answers about alternatives and saying that that is not within the jurisdiction of the Hometown Zoning Board. However, these questions are within the jurisdiction of the New Jersey BPU. In addition, New Jersey Natural Gas has filed for a similar regulated station in the township of Hasbro. That's a fairly recent event. This implies this was a possible alternative. Based on this and all other reasons mentioned, this is a want by New Jersey Natural Gas rather than a need that would merit the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities to override the sovereign and statutory right of municipalities with regard to its local land use. This is a New Jersey Natural Gas self-imposed hardship of its own doing. Municipalities must not be coerced into compensating for New Jersey Natural Gas floor planning or commercial growth in the pursuit of corporate profit. Now, we list additionally 8 items that were raised during the zoning board. I'm going to quickly go through them for the sake of time to allow others to speak. 1, the Right to Farm Act and the cumulative impact on the nearby preserve farm that was mentioned. 2, New Jersey Natural Gas described the regulated station as a major and significant station with city-level capacities, and that they look to locate that in an industrial commercial zone. But the site they're looking at is predominantly a primary residential, historic, and farmland area. It was not intended for this. 3, the full public, I'm sorry, I'm going to skip this because you're not going to include in the record. So 4, the emissions from the stacks. That continue to be an issue. The toxins and so on were not fully identified and addressed in the zoning board hearings. 5, the proposed regulated station to be used has known key issues. You heard earlier before about the odor injection, the leakage of industrial antifreeze, gas leaks from joints and valves, the handling of filters, and the monitoring of the stacked gas, which were not addressed. 6, an independent and objective environmental impact statement should be performed to balance the studies and analysis provided by New Jersey Natural Gas, which are inherently biased for the company. 7, independent objective engineering study needs to be done to a free analysis on the assertion about certain flows and pressure that were maintained when they first claimed and later changed as being for the direct needs of 98% of Homedale residents. 2011 pipeline replacement conveniently omitted the long-term planning needs and ranges for this, and now New Jersey claims that they're desperately needed. For all the reasons, we urge Your Honor and the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities to deny the New Jersey Natural Gas petition. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat Miller?
My name is Patricia Miller. I live in Middletown, New Jersey. I am a resident of Middletown, just across, a neighbor across the town line from Homedale. And I represent the organization Middletown for Clean Energy. I respectfully ask the judge and the BPU to deny this petition for a regulator station in Homedale or in the adjoining towns of Hazlet or Middletown. New Jersey has just released its new energy master plan, as council mentioned, on January 27, 2020, with the express goal of, quote, 100% clean energy by 2050, and the Global Warming Response Act goal to reduce state greenhouse gas emissions 80% by 2050. Clearly, the demand for and supply of natural gas is mandated by the state to be substantially reduced over the next 30 years. Governor Murphy's executive order number 100, issued the same day, January 27, 2020, states, quote, New Jersey must pursue a just and smooth transition away from its reliance on fossil fuels as a primary energy source and build a stronger and fairer economy that relies primarily upon clean and renewable energy sources. The executive order further warns, once the state achieves a just and smooth transition to 100% clean energy, fossil fuel infrastructure assets may become stranded throughout the state, making unlimited present-day and future investments in expanded fossil fuel infrastructure a potential waste of both private and public resources. End of quote. This regulator station is just such an infrastructure investment that is not needed for present demand, nor will it ever be needed for future demand. This spending on unneeded fossil fuel infrastructure must be stopped. The expanded pipeline was not needed, and the regulator station is just wasted spending. We, the ratepayers, want our dollars to be used for necessary maintenance to preserve the life of existing gas infrastructure safely for as long as it's needed, but not longer than the next 30 years. I ask that the petition be denied. Thank you.
Carol Balmer?
Would you mind if I sit? I've read it.
Not at all.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I wasn't into the microphone, please.
Oh,
Absolutely.
okay, thank you very much. No, I got it. I don't have 689 petitions that were signed online. I do have about 60 petitions that come from interested parties who believe they're stakeholders and that they have a vested interest in this because basically it's their money that's going to be paying for this. They're all consumers, okay? And they all are property owners, and they all basically feel that their tax dollars are going to basically pay for this. So henceforth, they feel they have interested party status, even if the law and the courts kind of split hairs and say, oh, we don't think so. I tend to agree with them, and so I'm going to read their petition, okay? The matter of the petition of New Jersey Natural Gas for determination concerning the Homedale regulator station pursuant to NJSA 40:55D-19 BPU docket number GO 1811257 and OAL docket number PUC 17810200185. Okay. The undersigned petitioners hereby declare their interested party status under NJSA 40:55D-4 and stakeholder status as local taxpayers and neighboring property owners. The undersigned hereby file with the BPU and OAL, Office of Administrative Law, a protest under New Jersey statutes annotated 40:55D-63. Petition in opposition to New Jersey Natural Gas's appeal before the BPU and submission for the February 13, 2020, Office of Administrative Law public hearing. For fair and equitable treatment of the public, the following but not limited to items must be addressed prior to any final jurisdictional determinations. It's further asserted that proposed regulator does not serve the public's best interest or welfare. Okay, number one, 2 separate notices were forwarded to recognized interested parties. The January 12, 2020 notice stated a start time for 6 p.m. A second notice was also received on January 17, saying the notice start time was for 4 p.m. This confused the public, to say the least. Henceforth, I think that the public comment period should be extended, which I'm hoping it will be, since you said there are going to be about 6 public hearings on this as well.
Just by way of clarification, and again, the purpose is to receive public comment, but since this is a procedural point, I believe a notice was sent out in error. The error was caught and corrected. The public hearing was always scheduled to be for 6 p.m. The 6 dates are evidentiary hearing dates of the parties to present their evidence.
So the public will have time to submit more comments?
As has been the policy, written comments, are you asking?
Yes.
Absolutely. We receive them and we circulate them and they're made part of the record. Thank you. Mr. Ogden has just also indicated that any rate councils indicated that any written comments can be mailed to the Board of Public Utilities at the BPU Secretary, 44 South Clinton Street, P.O. Box 350, Trenton, New Jersey, 08625-0350. Please include the reference of the New Jersey Natural Gas Homedale Regulator Station and docket number GO17010023. And at the conclusion of the hearing, I can go over this.
Okay.
Address
And does that mean we also should copy you, Judge? By the way, thank you very much for coming.
Of
We all
course.
appreciate it very, very much. But should we copy
It
you?
is
on-
my job, but I'm happy to do it as well. You can feel, I mean, certainly if the BPU instructions are to receive comments, they make the final decision at the end of the day. But my policy, and I have received ongoing, even recently in the days leading up to this hearing, written comments that are, I will distribute them to the parties to make sure they have a complete and full record. But I do review them, and they are considered and they are part of the record. So
You don't have any jurisdictional authority in this, is that what you're saying?
And again, to the purpose of the hearing, and I'm not trying to be snarky, I understand that a part of this process is to make sure that it fosters understanding as well. Ultimately, I will conduct an evidentiary hearing. I will review all the evidence, all the comments, the public record, the documents that are submitted, the testimony of experts, the testimony of lay witnesses that may be presented. I will produce what is called an initial decision. That initial decision is essentially a recommendation that is transmitted to the Board of Public Utilities. A large part of what the Office of Administrative Law does is in the fact-finding more than the pronouncements of law, although we do make recommendations on both. That initial decision is transmitted to the Board of Public Utilities. The Board of Public Utilities will review my decision. They will review the record in the matter. The parties to the litigation and the individuals who have been granted participant status will be able to communicate to the Board of Public Utilities after that initial decision has been presented to say the judge got it right, the judge got it wrong, or somewhere in between.
So it's at their discretion.
But then the Board of Public Utilities, at the end of that procedure, will issue what is called the final administrative decision in this matter. And that is the decision that can be appealed into the Superior Court Appellate Division if any of the parties feel that is the course they wish to take. Again, that final decision may adopt the initial decision that is provided. It may reject it wholesale. They may adopt it but make modification, or they may say, Judge, you didn't get enough factual record. Do it again. certainly we try to avoid that outcome. But these are all what happens. And so, yes, I will be considering all the evidence of the record that is presented to me, and yes, I will be issuing a decision, but the final administrative decision will be coming from a review of the record, this record, the record of the hearings, the evidentiary hearings that will be conducted, and a review of that recommended decision.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, now getting back to as far as the noticing was concerned, yes, I realize the noticing was corrected, but not everybody was aware of that, and there was still confusion as far as the 4 p.m. or 6 p.m. start time. So, I mean, the fact that we can still submit comments, and what is the window? I mean, when does the window close on this?
Well, I certainly am not aware of any, certainly if anyone wants to correct me from the board or any of the parties, I'm not aware of any quote-unquote deadline.
Okay.
Certainly, my policy is if I receive public comments, I will distribute them to the parties, allow them the opportunity to be heard if they wish to be. At least, it's important to make sure that all the parties have a complete record of these proceedings.
Okay.
That will occur. In terms of a window, certainly at some point in time, the record is there comes a date once the hearings are concluded and the parties and the participants have entered their briefs in the matter. At that point, the record is deemed closed at the OAL. I don't know that that includes the period by which the Board of Public Utilities may receive comment or not. But for my purposes, at that point, the record will be closed. But that will be at the conclusion of all the evidentiary hearings, at the conclusion of the briefing that's received by the parties if they choose to submit, by the participants, the designated participants if they choose to submit briefs. All those are received before my record is deemed closed.
Will the evidentiary hearings also have public notices for the public to be aware of them, or do they just come out in some kind of New Jersey register saying there's going to be a hearing?
I know we issued notice to the parties in the proceedings to the extent that the town is an intervener, and the participants, the individuals who have been granted participant status, they will receive hearing notice as well. I know in the past when there have been issues of public concern, I believe when we were here on the first time, I know it was a different attorney at the time, but I know the township had indicated that they would work with the township as intervener to help make sure notice is as broad as possible. But in terms of our official notice, we send the notices to the parties and to the participants.
Okay, just in the interest of time, I'm going to paraphrase what the petition basically has to say. But according to the language in this petition, these people feel they are participants. They are taxpayers. They're subsidizing New Jersey Natural Gas as far as their rates are concerned, and paying for the improvements that New Jersey Natural Gas is basically self-benefiting from. And they initially did this, according to the language in the petition, they initially did this, I think in 2011, 2012, with the initial pipeline that went down Homedale Road. And they did not disclose at that time their long-range plan to have regulated for it. So, I mean, it's a self-imposed hardship, as Mr. G has mentioned, and this is the township and the state and the consumers and the clients and the ratepayers should not have to put this on their shoulders, basically subsidize their profit margins for their stockholders. So basically that's what this petition deals with. Also, it deals with the fact that the Right to Farm Act, as was previously mentioned, the vegetation, which the attorney for New Jersey Natural Gas was talking about as far as plantings and all that, just take a ride through Lincroft. You'll see all the trees where their current facility is are burned and up and they're brown and they have to replace them, they don't replace them. So I mean, as far as them maintaining a landscape buffer, that's dubious at best, okay? So I mean, these are things that basically I think the BPU and also the determining jurisdictions should take a look at firsthand before they go ahead and just grant them carte blanche on paper, okay? The other things that are included in this petition as well are the emissions. I was present at all the public hearings on this. The emissions were not ID'd. They were, matter of fact, they were avoided, omitted from the hearings. Now, you said all the minutes and testimony and everything from the previous hearings will be included in this appeal as well?
To be clear, the previous public hearing where I came on that day, I sat right in this chair, and I believe you were, I met you on that day.
Yes.
This is the transcript of that hearing. That is preserved and included as part of the hearing, as part of the record.
How about the zoning board public testimony?
Well, to the extent that they may, I don't know what the parties will present to me, what may be, I don't have in memory what has been attached to the petition or the opposition to the petition.
Right.
Certainly, the township, the public advocate, the township as the intervener will have the opportunity to present evidence. I don't know if those will be included or as a part of that, but we will see that.
Yeah. I recall, just from going through the appeal that was submitted, that they omitted a lot of the public testimony that was at zoning board public hearings. These are pertinent to the decision-making process, and these should be duly considered within the BPU and also the Office of Administrative Law. Okay. The municipal codes, obviously, have been covered already and said they don't allow mixed use on this property. And the solar farm already had 12 waivers and variances, so that's another thing that has to be duly considered. Many feel that the solar farm is eventually going to flip over to them, and they're going to expand the use. Many feel as well that this regulator station and the Hazlet regulator station, now being before the planning board in Hazlet, is all part of the line going through the Raritan Bay. And we're basically being a doormat for the fossil fuel industry and the fracking coming from Pennsylvania. So, I mean, this is a long-term goal of what we feel is New Jersey Natural Gas, using New Jersey as a doormat. And with the energy master plan coming up, we don't want to be a doormat. We don't want to be able to turn around and say, oh, now we have antiquated energy service here, and we don't want to be tied into always using what we've been forced to use. And I think that's what New Jersey Natural Gas is doing. I'm going to submit these petitions to you, and in the interest of time, no people to speak. But there's 60 here. They're protesting of the municipal land use law, which is another issue. Why should this New Jersey Natural Gas be exempt from the municipal land use law? They're not a public utility. They're private for profit, making corporation where they have stockholders. They're interested in their stockholders. They're interested in their profit margins. They're not considering the consumer here, because obviously the consumer's rates are going to go up to pay for this infrastructure that they're pushing towards the Raritan Bay. And as others have said, possibly out of our own country and overseas. So I'm going to submit this to you, okay?
Thank you.
So Your Honor, for the record, the town will communicate out any of the dates that Your Honor sets for any hearings going forward to public via the township website, township committee meetings, and the newsletter going out. We will communicate everything out through Mr. Dixon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next on the list, I have Jerry Warner Sr.
Karen.
Oh, I apologize.
I attended right well, so.
You read a lot
I
better
missed
than I
your
did.
last visit here.
Oh.
I attended the one that was over in Township Hall. I've been in Homedale since '81. Was the former director at AT&T, Bill Labs. Oh, isn't it on? Okay.
They seem to want you to be close to it.
Okay. How's that? And also, okay, how does that work? Okay, thank you for that. And also a Homedale fireman for many years ago. And the basic problem on here, I'm going to keep it real short, is I worry about explosions. I mentioned it last time to the New Jersey natural gas folks, including their technical person, and they didn't say anything about it. And basically, I don't have a handout, but I'll make one. the government of Canada and I think also the U.S. produced a table like this that has the operating pressure on the pipe, how big the pipe is, and that says how big the explosion will be if it explodes. Right up the road in Edison, there was an explosion with the same type of equipment, and one person died, and 100 homes were gone. Now, I made some assumptions, and assumed that based upon the government data, that the blast area would be 1,000 feet radius. Roughly, maybe 800, depending on the winds. Okay, if that's the case, then the winery is gone. Okay, some homes on that are across the village side of the winery, and probably the veterinary place. Those buildings will be gone. Now they'll say, "Oh, they were safe." Well, you can go onto the internet, and I can provide it to you. There's thousands of explosions, and when you get a transmission line that goes up that's 30 inches, you get a big one. And so I'm surprised they didn't mention anything to it. Guess I'm not really surprised, but okay, that was it.
Pradeep Janji. Am I saying that correctly? It's my second time trying, right?
Yeah, it's good. That's for the record. I'll just read it out. Okay, so I'm Pradeep Janji. I'm at 38 Chapel
Spelling your name.
Pradeep is Prageep, and Janji is Jhanjee. Okay, so dear Honorable Judge, the crux of the matter is the following. 1. We, the ratepayers, do not need the increased capacity for the new high-pressure pipeline. This increased capacity is for other uses not related to the ratepayers. Point 1. Point 2. We, the ratepayers, are being asked to incur the capital cost and associated regulatory profit margin for capacity that we do not need. Not only is this cost financial, but as presented by many others, there are major environmental, health, safety, and social costs to the proposed industrially sized gas regulator. Number 3. In effect, we, the ratepayers, would be subsidizing financially and socially New Jersey Natural Gases and its parent, NJR, increased infrastructure capacity that we do not need. Surely, New Jersey Natural Gas and NJR will benefit from the increased capacity, but why are we, the ratepayers, asked to subsidize them? Number 4, either New Jersey Natural Gas works with Homedale and surrounding townships to minimize the impact of this unneeded increased capacity, or they should just operate the new pipeline at a pressure that the old gas regulator infrastructure can handle. Number 5, what they really should be doing is optimize to minimize local impact, not to maximize profit margins. Possible solutions that were not fully discussed by New Jersey Natural Gas. A, solve the problem at Wanage with a Wanage-sized solution. B, avoid huge industrially sized gas regulator stations. This may mean that you have more but smaller units. C, be more open to more environmentally friendly gas regulator technology like the hot catalytic converter, which they actually use themselves. Elizabeth Town, they have a 2 million BTU unit there. Judge, please note that New Jersey Natural Gas did not disclose the need for the new gas regulators when they asked the township's approval for the new pipeline. This was deceitful and done with intent to overcome obvious local resistance incrementally. Kind of what the British did when they took over India. During this multi-year harassment, their approach has been deceitful and arrogant, demanding everything without justification justification whilst not addressing the elephant in the room. Namely, why do we, the ratepayer, need this huge excess capacity? There's just no answer to that. It's never been answered. It's the key point. We do not know why they have this extra capacity, and we are paying for it. Judge, please help control this corporate excess. It is not enough. Is it not enough that we, the ratepayers, are already financially subsidizing New Jersey Natural Gas's and its parent, NJR's, unneeded excess capacity build-out? Please help us, the ratepayers, force New Jersey Natural Gas to optimize around minimizing the local impact of their self-imposed ratepayer non-beneficial constraint. Banish the proposed huge industrially sized gas regulator station and force New Jersey Natural Gas to seek solutions akin to those listed under bullet point number 5, meaning, the small, go with the Bonage and see solutions to that rather than build this monster. Many thanks for taking the time and effort to listen to our local community. I'm sure that we also speak for the surrounding affected communities. It is definitely, a network problem. We have created this problem. It's not just Homedale. It's that entire distribution network which now has to handle much higher pressure for higher capacity that we don't need. It is a community problem, not just Homedale problem. It's a regional problem that they have created. Thank you.
Yay.
Ms. Campus, I had you next. Did you have more, or was that for the?
I'm trying to be brief with my own comments. I've been involved with this New Jersey Natural Gas petition since it first began. And I'm going to say, being at all those hearings and all of those things made me, every time I listen, get more and more concerned about this project. Okay? To give you an example, when we would bring up environmental concerns and emissions, they would dismiss us. And it's just like the attorney here said, oh, it's just going to be like your local, like your residential boiler. The last I looked, my boiler didn't have 3 smokestacks coming out of it. So, I can't believe that that's going to be just what my boiler would have been into the air. When we brought up about sound concerns, they dismissed us and said, don't worry about it. Guess what? After they were pressured to perform a sound study, they found, we need to do something about it. And it was mentioned they're going to put up a sound barrier now. So it was after the residents kept pushing for more and more safety concerns, they were saying, okay, we're looking at it. I don't think they've addressed that. And when they talked about the property values, when I listened to their expert witness degrade the value of farmland, which is why I moved, and I'm not a farmer, but that's why I moved to Homedale, for the fact that I was living in a town that wanted to preserve open space, which my taxes go for. I have a special tax to preserve open space, and to enjoy open farmland, and the beauty that there are people here still willing to farm the land. Okay? We did not, the residents of Homedale did not come here to pay high prices for their homes, and the homes in the surrounding, very near where this regulated station is going to go, these are not little peanut homes. These are big homes, and just recently a development went up there. And those people in that development don't know what's being proposed, not too far from their homes, with children and families. We didn't come here to pay high prices and continue to pay high taxes, which not only support our community and schools, which attract people, but the state, okay? I am concerned, listening to that, just points out to me they don't care about what they do to Homedale, and whether they degrade towns in their profit mongering. Now, you see the number of people that are here. I can tell you, in 2 weeks, there would be more people here. But Homedale is a town of families with children, and they have obligations. And a lot of those people can't be here tonight, okay? But that's the kind of town we are. And I can tell you, those 1,000 petitions you got is only a small piece of the petitions that you could get. Because in 2 weeks, that's what we got. I still have petitions coming in. And if I really go on a crusade with the people that are concerned here, believe me, you'll have a stack of petitions like this. I hope we don't have to come to that. I hope that what you've been hearing here convinces you that this is a corporation that thinks they can come in, and I'm not even calling them a public utility, because this project is all about being a corporate entity looking for profit, coming in and doesn't care what they do to the towns along the way. And, you know, there's a concern about climate change, and we need more regulations, and we have to do all kinds of EPAs and all this stuff. But you know what? We have regulations. The town of Homedale does. The problem is when we keep giving variances and look the other way. And when we look the other way and allow this kind of stuff, this is where our problem is. And I don't want to hear New Jersey Natural Gas, when there's an accident, say, oops, we didn't think of that. And you know what? Even if no loss of life happens, if an accident here happens, that's going to be a detriment to this town. There are school buses that go up and down Homedale Road. And if that thing explodes and a school bus goes up, I don't know who's going to feel like they should have looked at this better. This is really something serious that's going on here. And I don't think New Jersey Natural Gas has proved that we really need this for us, for our community. And I ask the BPU to stand and say, you can't just do this. You can't not look at all the safety concerns and resolve them. And stop this degradation of good towns in New Jersey. Thank you.
James Yanello.
How you doing? James Yanello, Homedale resident, almost 20 years. Thank you, Judge Pelios, for coming back and listening to the Homedale residents. I think you may have remembered me before. I have a background in the utility industry. I actually covered New Jersey Natural Gas for many years as an analyst on Wall Street. I actually had many wonderful dinners by them. And it's true, some very good wine too. But what I will tell you is, and I'm just a little repetitious, but I'll move on. I've studied natural gas local utilities. I've studied transmission companies and actually E&P companies. I'm pretty familiar with what goes on here. This project is a joke. It's a joke. You've heard a lot of reasons why, and I'll just summarize my thoughts. Again, thank you for being here. I've heard that tonight could be a waste of time, though, because if a utility such as New Jersey Natural Gas claims a need in hardship, the BPU will ultimately grant them what they need unless an expert on the town side legally and technically disproves the need. That was the case with the egregious JCP&L Monster Power Line proposal, and I hope that will be the case here too in the months ahead with our town's legal defense. But before we even get to the trial and technical legalities, I have to say I don't believe the need to technically disprove this is fair. I believe what is fair in cases such as this is that a monopoly utility should be required to act in a forthright, honest manner, both with residents and before the ALJ and BPU. And despite New Jersey Natural Gas's annual awards and frequent marketing boasting about its friendly and so well-liked reputation, the extensive record at hand here in the 2 attempts to construct this regulator complex on Homedale Road shows that it does not conduct itself this way. And let me respectfully say, Your Honor, that you cannot properly do your job assessing this case and record unless you review in detail the extensive questions and testimony from residents from those 2 application hearings. And this was brought up by several people here tonight. The testimony that challenged the great inconsistencies in the company's claim of the purpose and need for this facility. I was one of the citizens that went to more than a dozen of those long meetings over the course of several years, often getting to bed at midnight. And often it was frustrating getting to sleep because you were aggravated at the inconsistencies you were hearing and the hubris of the company. There are many others here tonight that also lived this unattractive journey. So please show us the respect and gain some really good insights by reviewing our extensive testimony if you have not yet, and I hope our attorney will submit. With all that said, let me quickly get to the point. Some of this has been covered. It's very clear that New Jersey Natural Gas did not plan this expansion pipeline system on Homedale Road well. And now the supposed need for this regulator station is a supposed hardship that we as residents should have to deal with. Does that make sense? The company had the 3-stack heating unit component of this regulator station, that ugly picture unit we've all passed around in town, in storage for many years before they filed this application to install it on Homedale Road. They actually had it purchased, ready to go. Does that pass the smell test? New Jersey Natural Gas initially said that this regulator station was primarily for Homedale. But when we pressed them on this, over time, their story changed to Homedale and the surrounding communities. And then over time, when we further pressed them and called them out on their inconsistencies and what their executives were saying, and sometimes they didn't even remember what they were saying, it became for Homedale, the surrounding communities, and for the overall health of the grid regionally. Is that evolution of their narrative being straightforward? New Jersey Natural Gas said that there was no other place to put this regulator. But now we hear they're planning one in Hazlet too. Why this sudden need for mega pressure reducing capacity in our towns when population growth is limited at best and appliance efficiencies continue to increase? Does that make sense? New Jersey Natural Gas said we have a very dangerous situation with the icing at the current underground innate unit on the Vonage property that requires constant monitoring and remediation. But during some of the coldest consecutive weather days that we have seen in ages around here last winter, they didn't feel the need to check on it at all. Is that such a dangerous situation? And while surely we could have missed it, we have not seen them doing any mitigation activity around that innate little underground unit at Vonage this winter at all. Again, we may have missed it, but there's been no staging of anything going on there that we can tell. Speaking of that innate underground unit at Vonage, I don't doubt it may develop some icing at times. We've seen pictures. Something should be done. But it's clear it's not the dire situation the company originally came to town sounding the alarm about. So why don't we look at solutions to addressing it there, not by replacing it with this massive over-solution? New Jersey Natural Gas is attempting to replace a wagon that can move a bundle of grapes across a vineyard perfectly 99.9% of the time. They're trying to replace it with a Ferrari to do that job. And why shouldn't they? Their senior executives will live nowhere near that proposed site, and heck, with the high cost of this Ferrari they're proposing, they'll just bake it into the rate base, so we ratepayers can pick up the tab. New Jersey Natural Gas talks about how the unit would be hidden with all of this wonderful extensive landscaping, but the record at hand shows that the landscaping around many of their units is not well kept up at all. In fact, they look like shanty operating complexes. The units themselves are not well monitored. I pointed out, and it's on the record, how one of the smokestacks was bent, that it was rusting, and there was damage on it from a recent storm. And one of their senior executives, their response to that was, well, we got to it eventually, and we would have hoped you would have called us up to identify that. Is that our role as citizens, to identify these potentially very high-risk industrial facilities of theirs when there's problems after storms? And even with landscaping on cold, damp winter days at this proposed facility on Homedale Road, and these wonderful trees that they're supposedly going to keep up, unlike the landscaping at their other units, their experts have admitted that on cold, damp days, you will see emissions billowing out above these trees. New Jersey Natural Gas says safety at these facilities is paramount, but they don't feel the need to install any cameras to proactively monitor them, like so many of us have on our front doors. No cameras. Why would we need them? New Jersey Natural Gas brought in an expert that they paid for that breathtakingly claimed there would be 0.00 impact on nearby home values across the street or nearby this 3-stack high-pressure facility on Homedale Road. That in itself speaks volumes to how they are approaching this and their level of respect for Homedale residents. In the spirit of giving others time, if there's any left, and not giving this to go all night, I'm going to end this now and simply again implore you to please study this case history in great detail so that you will see firsthand, clearly for yourself, the breathtaking inconsistencies in New Jersey Natural Gas's position and in this case. And hopefully, if you truly do that, even before this goes to trial, you will feel compelled to go back to the BPU. You will go back to the BPU, and together, both of you, will visit New Jersey Natural Gas and say, are you for real with this Ferrari? Thank you.
Regina Cristione.
Hi, my name is Regina Cristione, Regina Cristione. I am reading a statement on behalf of Citizens for Informed Land Use. I'm sorry, a lot of this is repetitive, but this was approved as is, so I don't want to not read it all. Citizens for Informed Land Use, CILU, is a grassroots, Homedale-based organization founded in 1998 to promote thoughtful land use and an open, transparent government. CILU strongly opposes this gas regulator station for the following reasons. 1. 2 applications for this facility were denied by the Homedale Zoning Board in 2016 and 2018. In addition, the Homedale Environmental Commission opposed the application based on the belief that, quote, emissions from the proposed regulator facility will cause degradation to the Category 1 waters in the Swimming River Reservoir watershed, unquote. This reservoir supplies drinking water for more than 300,000 Monmouth County residents. 2. The regulator station has 3 15-foot-high heater smokestacks that discharge into the air CO2, VOCs, and other chemicals which are linked to cancer and respiratory conditions and can contribute to global warming. 3. The 12 variances and waivers requested for each site are inconsistent with state, county, and municipal master plans and ordinances. 4. Variances include a reduction of buffers between this industrial site and neighboring homes, businesses, a school, a farm, and a vineyard. Environmental, quality of life, and property value impacts were not adequately addressed by New Jersey Natural Gas in previous hearings. 5. New Jersey Natural Gas requested relief from an environmental impact study, which is essential for determining effects of the toxic fumes on nearby residents, vegetation, livestock, and our air and water quality. 6. New Jersey Natural Gas's application in 2012 for installation of a pipeline from Homedale Road to Laurel Avenue conveniently omitted the then long-range requirements that New Jersey Natural Gas now alleges are desperately needed. This is a self-imposed hardship on New Jersey Natural Gas that Homedale must not be forced into accepting this station as a result of their lack of disclosure. 7. New Jersey Natural Gas has never clearly shown an increase in population which would warrant the added capacity for which the gas regulator station is needed, nor has it shown how this project will benefit the residents of Homedale or neighboring towns. 8. Public testimony from the numerous zoning board hearings were inexplicably omitted from the appeal petition. My understanding is that they didn't want to waste paper, is what I heard. Why are residents' voices being ignored? 9. Gas lines do leak and fail, as seen in news reports. These disastrous events can cause millions of dollars of property damage, tragic loss of lives, as well as irreversible damage to the environment. We urge you to consider that all these points, as well as those spoken by others in this hearing, in making your determination on this petition. Thank you.
Joe Crowley.
Joe Crowley, 15 Ely Road, Homedale. Your Honor, thank you for your time. So the assertion by New Jersey Natural Gas's counsel is that this is inherently beneficial and that was demonstrated, and that this is the only suitable location. So a couple of points to this. One is this is not a demonstrated need. As noted, there's flat population growth in Monmouth County. There's essentially nearly flat usage in the state of gas. The goal, with goals to reduce by 80% over the next 30 years. That's nearly 3% a year of decrease. So not only is this not a demonstrated need, it defies common sense. There are major health risks noted, impact on residents, and particularly potential impact on our children. There will be an impact on our property values. We paid a premium to live in this town for its bucolic nature and all the things it affords us. It's obvious if we don't want it here, others won't want it here either, and it will have an impact on our property values. So when I hear claims from New Jersey Natural Gas that this is inherently beneficial, perhaps they didn't consider current usage, projected goals, and commitment to clean energy, the major health risks, and the impact on property values. I can't help but wonder if this facility were going to be built in the backyard of the CEO of New Jersey Natural Gas, or in the backyard of New Jersey Natural Gas's council, if it would still be considered inherently beneficial and the only suitable location. As a note, the attendance at this meeting is 10 times the attendance of a normal town meeting, and those meetings are frequently contentious. There is rarely consensus, but on this, we are agreed. There is not a demonstrated need, it is not inherently beneficial, and this is not a suitable location. So for these reasons, I urge you, Your Honor, and the BPU to reject New Jersey Natural Gas request.
Michael Falcone? Michael Falcone? I'm going to take a 5-minute recess so I can get the remainder of the list that's been signed up, replace it with the new list, and just stretch my legs tired. I'm going to take a moment to do the same. We'll resume in about 5 minutes. Thank you very much.